Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Roast here with Jessica Bun Bun, and this is our preview for Only Murders in the Building, Season 4, Episode 9, Escape from Planet Klongo. Let's just start up with the title here,
Yeah.
because we have noted in a lot of our past previews that all of these titles so far this season have been based on movies. I mean,
Mhm.
they even explicitly talked about Lifeboat in Episode 8.
Yes.
This is the first one where, for the life of me, I have searched and Googled and tried to hunt this. I cannot find a Planet Klongo anywhere.
If you guys have seen this movie out there somewhere and for whatever reason we just can't find it, please leave it in the comments for us if this is a real movie or not.
I feel like it's probably made up and tied in some way to the storyline of this episode. So it's still a movie, but it's a movie within the Only Murders universe. Now,
Yeah.
you could say that the title is sort of a riff on Escape from Planet Earth or something
Mhm.
like that. That
Yeah.
is an actual motive. I mean, at the end of the day, I recognize this stuff doesn't matter, but I'm nerdy about this stuff. So I'm kind of curious as to where exactly they're going to go here.
Well, I think it also matters when we dive deeper into the synopsis of what's going to be coming up on this episode. Escape from Planet Klongo feels also like it can be like, a Planet of the Apes or something that's a little
Yeah.
more sci fi or a little more, just something that's a little bit more different. That it's not just, oh, it's a comedy or it's a drama. It's something a little bit more crazy.
It's going to give some opportunities for some fun slapsticky comedy. And I know,
Yeah.
based on what I said about episode 7, that some of you may think that I'm a hater, that I don't like slapsticky comedy because I didn't like Meryl Streep and Melissa McCarthy fighting. That is not the case. I just need it to make sense within the story and be a little bit relevant.
But before we dive any further into that, be sure you hit that subscribe button. We have Only Murders in the Building videos here 3 times a week. Every Tuesday, we have reviews and previews, and every Wednesday, we have a theory video for you. We are also, it is, spooky season, so we are also covering here 2 new shows, Teacup and Sweet Pea, here at the channel. So if you're looking for like a really good spooky show to get into, those 2 are really great. And we are also continuing to cover From
Yeah.
and Grotesquerie, also spooky shows that are on right now. Thank you so much to everyone who has hit that subscribe button. It really helps us here at the channel.
If you guys want to help us even further, join our Patreon. We have a link in the description below. And over there, we are covering exclusively The Penguin, which is right into the thick of it right now. There's some really good stuff happening over there. So be sure to check that out. And thank you so much to our
Thank you.
patrons who have.
Okay, here's the synopsis for
Okay.
Escape from Planet Klongo.
All right.
Seeking a critical clue, Charles, Oliver, and Mabel must infiltrate a film set to get the real background on why Sazz was killed. So, at the end of this last episode, Helga had revealed that there was Sazz had this protege that was, dangerous and harassing her, and seemingly they were messing up. They had messed up big time on some sort of film. So, my feeling is that whoever is doing
Mhm.
Escape from Planet Klongo, whether it's the director or producer or whoever, is also the person who was behind this other film, Rono Kokama. I'm never going to get that right, guys.
I'm not even trying.
But that the director or the producer, somebody big behind that film, is now doing this film. And because Glenn is in a coma, like, yeah, we saw his finger wiggle, but that's not enough to get information out of him.
Yeah.
And that's who they think is the person who is the stunt person who's the protege of Sazz. They're going to go to this other film set and talk to whoever it is, the producer, director, whoever that worked on both films.
It's the most substantial lead that they've had in a little while. And
Yeah.
one of the things that we sort of know is that the stuntman community can be a little bit tight knit. And beyond that, the community of sort of action or sci-fi or genre movies can kind of be the same way. Like Escape from Planet Klongo, to me, it sounds like a pretty cheesy B movie that's going to have some like ridiculous effects and something like that. So to me, what I think might end up happening here, especially since they say the word background
Mm-hmm.
in the synopsis, is that the trio show up over there. They're trying to get some sort of answers, but because this may be some like shoddily put together production, the director or producer is going to be like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll help you guys out, but I need you to be background actors
Yeah.
in a scene like that. And we're going to see, Charles and Oliver in front of like a blue screen or something getting eaten by a dinosaur or something ridiculous like that.
I think that would be so fun if they had something like that.
I just think it would be a really nice little tribute to these sort of like really campy movies. Now, at the same time, we know that this is a show that loves cameos and loves all of that. So I'm just going to say this. M. Night Shyamalan, welcome to Only Murders in the Building.
Listen, with Escape from Planet Klongo, it just gave me like sort of weird sci-fi vibe.
Yeah.
So, he's a really good idea of who could be on this. I mean, yeah, this season, let's face it, the celebrity cameos that have been on,
Yeah.
they're stretched far and wide. So, David Cronenberg, welcome to Only Murders in the Building. Maybe that's just me. I just love him, but his movies are so weird that it's just like this title feels like something he might do.
Okay, if David Cronenberg is the director of this, this episode will
I'm
be like,
just gonna ascend into heaven.
you guys have had enough laughs. It's time for body horror now. Steve Martin, prepare yourself.
Okay, so here's the other thing is they may decide to bring in
Yeah.
a comedian, because they really do like to bring in comedians, that's going to play a producer or
Yeah.
director, like they did with Molly Shannon is in playing producer Bev
Yeah.
Mellon. So I could see that happening, that they're going to bring in another iconic comedian to come in and play director, whoever, David Cronenberg.
If they don't do David Cronenberg or M. Night Shyamalan, I'm going to say somebody whose name rhymes with Rob Rodenkirk who can come in and play. Come on, who doesn't want to see that? But no, regardless of whoever this is, I mean, it's going to be a cameo, but it's going to be something that actually feels relevant to the story, which is the most important part here, because we need to know the simple answer of who is Sazz's protege.
Yeah, and I feel like this person will actually be able to give answers, because the only answer they have right now is IMDb. And while, IMDb is not reliable in real life,
Yeah.
it could be reliable enough that Glenn was actually the person who was the stunt person that actually had that job, is listed there and did that job. But we don't know for sure that Glenn was there the entire time. There could have been another stunt person who messed up really badly, got canned, and that's why they're not on IMDb at all. So to have the trio go and actually talk to somebody who was working on that other film, they would have like the real tea of like either like, yeah, Glenn was here the whole time, and yeah, we saw some weird things going on. He was harassing Sazz or whatever was going on. Or, yeah, Glenn had to step in because we had this other person, and man, they really messed up badly, and we had to give him the boot.
The biggest problem I have right now with Glenn being the protege is just this idea that we saw him at the Stuntman bar earlier this season. And yeah, he talked a little bit about Sazz and doing this memorial for them.
Yeah.
But he never acted at all like he was somebody who was a longtime protege of hers, that like she was a huge mentor. I feel like that sort of reverence would be a little different. Now, you can argue that Glenn could be lying, that, he may be hiding the truth. But I mean, this guy doesn't seem like he's really capable of holding a lot in.
I just think that, let's say
Yeah.
he's the killer and he's the protege.
Yeah.
I feel like he would have wanted to make a bigger spectacle of how much she meant to him.
Yeah.
That if he's like, oh, we're not going to be able to give her a proper funeral now, like the real stunt person funeral,
Yeah.
like this just isn't going to work out. If he's going to say that and be like, let's make this work so that we can really say goodbye to someone that we all really loved.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have come out that he would have continued to like slather on that butter and be like, I was her protege, she taught me everything I knew. I wouldn't have a career without her. I love her. That way it kind of continues to like cover him up as the murderer, because he's put together this memorial for her. He was, mentored by her. He loves her. That it would just be, I think it would have come up.
Yeah, like you've won me over to this idea that Glenn's not really the protege.
I just don't think he is.
Yeah, like I felt like it was possible for a while that like okay he is.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, I thought okay he is, but that doesn't mean that he is the killer. And I kind of
Mhm.
thought that, but it is just
Mm.
sort of the situation where the more we're sort of combing through everything and really looking at the clues like all of us sleuths kind of tend to do, it is just too weird that Glenn isn't talking that much about Sazz. Now,
Yeah.
speaking of things that are really, really weird, one of the other things I really want an answer to in this particular video is that, I mean, this episode, it's just that we've spent so much time talking about, okay, who's the target, X, Y, or Z, who is, Sazz's protege, but yet there was all this chatter on the ham radio that was more about Charles. So, what does that really mean? Is that chatter more towards the big bad mystery, and that part of it is a red herring for who killed Sazz, and maybe these things just aren't as connected as we previously thought?
And also, just because someone is harassing Sazz doesn't mean that they've killed Sazz.
Yeah,
So, like, her bringing this up over the ham radio and some of the other things that she has brought up, it doesn't mean that they're the killer. Like,
yeah,
we only have a couple episodes left,
I
right?
know.
So, we do have to start circling in on it, but it doesn't mean it's connected. It could be connected, but it doesn't mean it's connected.
Here is what we've kind of seen historically from Only Murder seasons is that kind of around the end of episode 9, we have a pretty good sense as to what's going on here. And a
Right.
lot of the finale is sort of about, okay, now we're going to plan the big reveal. We're going to find a
The
way.
killer reveal party.
Yeah, we're going to, here are the Westies to help. Here are the acting, all these sort of people are going to congregate together. I kind of think, and I'm not sure the show is going to do this, I think it would kind of be more interesting if we go into the finale this season and we actually don't have that clear a sense of it. Like maybe another suspect is unearthed through Planet Klongo, but still we can't actually say with confidence that that is the big reveal, just to kind of mix things up a little bit, because this show, I mean, we all love this show. That's
Yeah.
pretty clear at this point, but at the same time, it can be a little bit formulaic when how it does things.
Yeah. So, I mean, over the seasons, typically it feels like episode 5, 6, or 7, we get like a whole episode about somebody like Jan and Poppy, where we're just like, Poppy? Why is Poppy getting a whole episode
Yeah.
in, episode 6? So we're all of a sudden getting this whole Poppy episode. We're getting this whole Jan episode, and then they end up being the killer. So I'm really hoping that that is not where we're going with the formula that the show has
Yeah.
done, because even with Cliff and Donna, the same thing happened. It was like we saw them a little bit at the beginning and then nothing.
Mhm.
And then episode like 7, they pop back up again. There's like a whole big episode about them.
Yeah, so they really got to try to mix things up, guys. Like, it's more than okay if you do that. But
Yeah, that's like one of the reasons why I think episode 7 has always confused me this season, because the person narrating was Big Mike, who we didn't see
Yeah.
until the very end of the episode for like a second, where I was kind of like, why are you getting a whole episode of narration? Like, that's very weird.
I guess Big Mike's the killer then. I have a case
Yeah, I
closed.
don't
No,
know.
he's not the killer. But
No, but it's still very odd.
yeah, it is. I mean, here's everything that this show has to do in these final couple of episodes here. You got to resolve, obviously, who killed Sazz, and beyond that, why, and if Charles is the
Right.
target. You have to answer all of that. Then you have to do the big reveal. Then you also have to say, was all of this connected to the big season 1, who is the big bad, the Moriarty mystery, aka
Lester.
yeah, it's Lester, as we have now decided upon.
Yeah.
No matter what twists are thrown at us, it's still hard to avoid
Yeah.
that.
No, we're the Lester channel. We're just on that hill.
Yeah, we're getting our Bellman outfits ready
That's right.
and our mustaches, and we're ready to go. Now, there's also the wedding between Loretta
Mhm.
and Oliver. Are we gonna see that this season? I feel like with the way that things are kind of moving rapidly, there's a good chance of it. And
Yeah, I mean, they said in the last episode, like, oh, we're getting married next weekend or in a weekend, or like it's very, very soon. I
yeah,
feel like we're going to have that in the finale, and that the next person that's going to be dead is going to be dead at this wedding.
yeah, which just sends a chill down your spine. But that is probably why we're going to stick to the formula here, and episode 9's probably
Yeah.
going to reveal a big part of the killer, because it's just like, you guys have to have time to get married. You have to have another person killed. You have to explain why the killer did it.
Yeah.
But that's what we got now, entering episode 8 of Only Murders in the Building, season 4. So hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss any other coverage. Plus, Sweet Pea Teacup from so much great horror themed programming right now. And if you want to support us further, join our Patreon. Our link is in the description. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you here next time.